A lot of things to worry about there, and a man who's worrying about all of them, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He declared it a state of emergency down in Texas, activating nearly 700 members of the National Guard. He'll be giving a press conference this afternoon, but first, he joins us to talk about the hurricane and the state's preparations. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, welcome. Governor, you tweeted out that you've spoken to President Trump and FEMA. What kind of response do you expect from them after this storm passes through? A week from now, we're worried.
Well, we are already engaged in working with FEMA, and we have been for days now. The President and the Secretary of Homeland Security also promised their support for the people of the state of Texas. I think everybody is coming to realize the magnitude and the complication of this storm. The greatest concern that we have is the fact that a couple of days ago, as the storm was headed toward Texas, it looked like a tropical storm, and not too many Texans took it all that serious. Obviously, it has grown far more serious over the past 24 or 48 hours. And not only do we have the hurricane situation, but because of the rainfall that you were talking about, there's going to be enormous flooding. And so we are concerned that not enough people have evacuated, and we are still urging people, if at all possible, if you are in low-lying areas, if you're in zones where evacuation orders have been in place, there may still be time for you to get out. If you don't get out, you could be in an area without power, without water, without necessities for at least a week, if not longer. So if at all possible, if you can get out of harm's way, please do everything you can over the next few hours to get out. There are locations in San Antonio, in Austin, in Dallas that can host you, that can take care of you.
And we just spoke to the mayor of San Antonio, who said that they're prepared to be good neighbors. The president has just tweeted out a few minutes ago that he's spoken with Governor Abbott of Texas and Louisiana Governor Edwards, closely monitoring Hurricane Harvey developments and here to assist as needed. We did speak to the mayor of Corpus Christi a little earlier, and they've not got a mandatory evacuation there. And in fact, the mayor did seem to suggest that this was going to be less serious than he had earlier thought. That stands in stark contradiction to all of the reporting we're getting about this, that this is going to be remarkably serious. I know you Texans are remarkably self-reliant and don't like people telling you what to do, but should that have been a mandatory evacuation?
Well, listen, these mayors at the local level, they know their areas well. There are certain low-lying areas around Corpus Christi and certain areas that are not low-lying, especially all of the low-lying areas. Even if it's a voluntary evacuation order, I think that Texans should heed that, because they're going to find here the next few hours this storm is going to be stronger, more serious than what was anticipated, and longer lasting. And remember this, the flooding that will take place will not just be along the coast, it will be inland about 100 miles. That water will come rushing down toward the coast, complicating roadways for a long time to come. Now is the time to get out while you still can.
So how do you prepare for a 12-foot storm surge? Even the sound of that, I mean, sandbags can't help when you're talking 12 feet.
Right. Well, one of the most important things that we can and that we have done is to prepare for water rescue missions. We have multiple teams, whether it be through the 700 State and National Guard that we've activated, whether it be what's called Texas Task Force 1 or Texas Task Force 2, are working with FEMA. We have multiple water rescue teams south of Corpus Christi all the way up to the Houston area to make sure that we will be able to be in the process of saving lives, which is the most important thing that we can do.
And when we've seen lives lost in these hurricanes in the past, it often has to do with people who don't have the resources to get out of town. Moving, relocating before a storm is remarkably inconvenient, difficult to do. There are a lot of people who don't have resources and don't know, as you mentioned, where they're supposed to go. Do you think there's enough busing, enough shelters around that can accommodate people who otherwise think they don't have the money or the capacity to get out of town?
Sure. There have been and are multiple buses and mass transportation facilities leaving areas such as Corpus Christi, taking people to places like San Antonio. If you're going to San Antonio or Austin or these other shelters, you don't have to worry about the cost. You have other people who will be taking care of you. The main thing you need to do is to try to find a pathway out. If you're looking for that pathway, contact your local emergency management director. That should be easy to find. If nothing else, just call your local local police department, and they can put you in touch with them. But take haste and use all speed to try to find a pathway out of this storm.
How about risk of deportation for those undocumented immigrants that could be in the way of the storm's path? Are they in the clear to go to some of these evacuation centers? Do they have to show ID?
It's my understanding from what I saw from the Border Patrol instructions yesterday that will not be an issue. What everyone is focused on right now is ensuring that we do all we can to protect life. We all have a high regard for life. We want to ensure the safety of all lives, and we're prepared to take all measures to do so.
Speaking of which, there's a cone at the southern end of this storm that gets to Brownsville and gets to the Mexican border in the Rio Grande. Are you coordinating with Mexican officials on that side for things that may happen around that area?
We are coordinating with Mexican officials, but also with the Border Patrol officials and all the officials up and down both the Rio Grande Valley all the way up to north and northeast of the Houston area. Listen, this is going to be a massive storm that will have ripple effects up and down the Texas coastline. And so this is going to be broad-based coordination by officials at all levels.
How about oil refineries? Clearly, there's big oil in Texas. How prepared are they? And even if they shut down temporarily, how long would it take them to get back and operational? We know this could affect prices at the gas tank around the country.
Sure. Listen, they are very experienced in dealing with these challenges. This is not the first time they've dealt with these challenges, and so they get prepared in advance and make sure that they will minimize both the potential damage, but also expedite the process of getting the refineries back up and running. If there's anybody I have confidence in, it is those refineries because they know how to operate this, and they will get it back online as quickly as possible.
All right, Governor Greg Abbott, our thoughts are with you. We wish you the best for the state, and we'll be following it very closely through the course of the next 24 hours. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.